Hello, and welcome to the first Expert Online episode of a brand new month. My name is Sophia. I'm the digital marketing manager at Internet Vikings, and I'm excited to have you join me and my guest as we discuss yet another fascinating topic. Meet Oleksii Lysenko, account executive at Internet Vikings. Hello, Oleksii.
Hey Sophia, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Nice to have you here today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Same here. So, for our listeners, if you're joining me for the first time and wondering what is going to happen here and what is it all about, we at Internet Vikings created the platform for our listeners to tune in every Wednesday at 15 CAT and gain valuable knowledge about the industry updates from each and every our guests. To catch up on the fascinating topics you may have missed, you can find all the recordings on Internet Vikings YouTube page or LinkedIn pages. And today I'll be joined by one of Internet Vikings' passionate techies, Oleksii Lysenko, who will provide insights into different hosting options and how these services differ and how to choose the best solution for your business. Oleksii is an account manager who continuously looking for industry trends and opportunities due his passion for technology. His experience with DevOps actually allowed him to broaden his technical expertise in hosting platforms and environments, enabling him to better serve his customers by tailoring solutions to the unique demands. Welcome to the show, Oleksii, one more time. We are very happy to have you here and very excited, like me personally, I'm very excited to listen what is that you're going to share about today.
Thanks. It's so nice to be here.
Great. And without any further ado, let's jump right into the first question. And we know that the name of this live stream specifically was cloud hosting versus colocation for iGaming industry. So tell us, please, the difference. What is the difference between colocation and cloud hosting?
Yeah, so basically the main difference between cloud hosting and colocation is the way how data is stored. Cloud hosting, it's a service provided by a cloud platform provider that includes its own set of technologies. Basically, it allows you to access a remote server over the internet. The provider would manage everything, including the storage, servers, the network required. You would just simply pay for the access whenever you need it. While colocation, it's a much more serious endeavor and it requires a lot more dedication. It allows businesses to rent space for IT infrastructure in a data center. It would provide it provides this physical location, cooling, power, and security. Colocation services also include the possibility of multiple and hybrid cloud infrastructure, usually done with cloud providers like Microsoft Azure or Amazon Web Services. And these things, they're not mutually exclusive. Many companies use both or a combination of one or the other. The main difference between them being is how data is managed and stored. So in cloud servers, the data is stored and owned by the cloud provider and managed virtually. In colocation, servers are not owned by the colocation facility, but instead by the business that is leasing the space.
Okay, sounds sounds cool. Actually, very complex system. I must say, obviously, as all of these tech things we are getting to know about. So, talking about colocation versus cloud hostings, in which situations do company choose colocation, and what might be the reason to select cloud hosting? Talking about different businesses or even iGaming industry specifically. What are the problems that companies are trying to solve choosing one or another?
Yeah, so comparing these two further, colocation is a solid choice for businesses that require a mix of hybrid and multi-cloud storage. But usually, it's businesses that have outgrown their own on-premise equipment in their own office, in the basement, whenever. Maybe they have their own server room, and they just often don't have the capacity to build their own data center, which is why colocation makes sense for some of the companies. And they might be so used to the whole infrastructure, and their platform might be tailored for for using this environment specifically. Cloud hosting, it has a much lower entry cost for businesses looking to expand their IT resources beyond servers in their own office. The self-service model allows for a lot of flexibility to scale up or down compute of the resources depending on your business needs at the moment. Colocation actually used to be the way to go, but mainly for compliance reasons. Just a couple of years ago, that is for iGaming. But these days, it's just not the case anymore, as many regulators have since allowed the use of cloud hosting to remain compliant, whether it's in Malta or the US with the Federal Wire Act. And it's actually one of the things that we do for our customers at Internet Vikings.
Oh, these are the great news that cloud hosting is actually fully compliant. Okay, but then while choosing hosting server services, what should actually company pay attention to? Which criteria should they double check before making a final decision between cloud hosting or colocation, whether it's a small business or a big business? Maybe there is like a more things they have to pay attention to.
Yeah, sure. To be honest, it all come down to which provider offers the kind of service with the terms you need for the time being. But also, it's very important to look ahead and consider how scaling the solution would work and whether the provider can support it in the long run. With that said, however, there are a few more like general things to consider when choosing a hosting provider. For example, uptime. It's a very good rule of thumb when preferably it should be above 99.5%, and you should probably avoid companies that report annual uptime score below 99%. It might seem quite excessive, like zero point 0.5 of a percent, but specifically for iGaming, it's a lot of money. So it means a lot of money. Just these 0.5 of a percent. The other thing would be a customer support, customer care. How effective and speedy is the company in providing support for technical problems? I would suggest you choose a host that offers live support to their clients, preferably 24/7. And also, you should definitely give priority to those companies that have an in-house support department, because they have a much better grasp than the company that comparing to those that outsource customer support.
Okay, got it, got it. Thank you so much for this answer. Talking about, I've mentioned that you have an extensive experience in DevOps, right? And actually, we would like to know that, and I guess our listeners as well, what are the main issues that company engineers might face while working with colocation, and what are the ones associated with cloud hosting? Because obviously, like this is kind of like a service they have, but the company engineers might face like lots of different issues, and maybe even not just engineers, but even like I don't know, account managers or like any other people who are working with the in the company. So what would it be?
Yeah, so as I mentioned previously, these cloud hosting and colocation, they're not mutually exclusive at all. And it all depends on how do you set them up. For example, the environment of some cloud service providers can get quite restrictive in terms what developers can do, while on the other hand offers them a lot of out-of-the-box integration in return. The platform can be very well supported. You can have a lot of documentations for the developers, with a lot of different things for configuration and stuff. But there's also a risk, that might lead to something called a vendor lock. It basically means that your platform becomes so dependent on a specific cloud environment that you just simply cannot switch easily, or sometimes at all. You cannot switch a hosting provider, that is. They know that is why it's so important to take a lot of consideration when choosing a hosting provider, because you, apart from looking at what fits right now, you also have to see what might work and what might not work in 2 3 years ahead. So it's a very important thing. It shouldn't be taken lightly when it comes also to some issues that developers might face. So as I said, it's all about how you set them up, because sometimes colocation, it's all about the management and all about the choices that the company makes. Usually, if it's a smaller company, you should definitely go for a cloud solution, because you don't need to manage. It's just a lot easier, so to say. But when it comes to, for developers, sometimes it doesn't really make any difference. It all depends on how the environment works, pretty much.
You mentioned that very scary issue when you can't change the provider. So what are the circumstances in which it can appear, or like how does it happen? If you could share like this insights, like secrets.
Yeah, sure. So it's just you see, some cloud hosting providers, they just develop their platform, their environment in such a manner that it becomes like, sometimes it becomes simply impossible to switch. Your platform becomes so dependent, it just grows so dependent. It's the API and stuff. It really is very difficult, because you need to change so much. You need to make structural changes to your platform, and that is a lot of work from the development team, and it's sometimes it just doesn't make sense to do that, and that's why a lot of companies just stick to the hosting provider that they started with. That is a common issue that customers face with Amazon, for example, because their environment is like that sometimes.
Oh, okay. Got it. Oh, that's something new. I didn't know about it. But yeah, that does make sense. It's kind of like a forced loyalty. um, okay, and I had one more question when you were talking about the uptime, that it should be like ideally 99.5%. Uh, just correct me if I understood it wrong. Does actually the hosting, like the choice of the hosting provider, like either it would be cloud hosting or colocation, does it influence on the uptime percentage, or maybe like, I don't know, cloud hosting is faster or like colocation is faster, or that doesn't actually makes a difference? It's just about how do you set them up.
Well, in this case, it's not, when it comes to uptime, is it's not about cloud versus colocation. It's more about how the data centers of a specific hosting provider are set up, whether they have redundant internet service providers, for example, if there's a power outage, if there's an internet service provider outage. Those things that, these are the things that you should consider. It's not about cloud hosting or colocation.
Okay. Okay, got it. Thank you. Then it makes all perfectly clear. Thank you so much, Oleksii, for your time. I'm done with the questions I had, and even some extra questions based on your information and your insights. Thank you for joining me, providing all the our listeners with so much helpful information today. I'm sure it's going to help lots of people to choose their hosting providers. I don't know if they are choosing them right now. And thank you, listeners and our audience, for tuning in. We wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you, our wonderful listeners and viewers, and everyone who is joining us. Please feel free to leave your comments, questions in the comment section. I'm sure Oleksii would be happy to answer your questions if you have any. So feel free to do that. You can also, as a reminder for the next live streams, you can always write your questions in the comments, and we'll ask them in like during the live stream itself. So feel free to do this as well. Don't be shy. Also subscribe to our channels not to miss any further live streams Expert Online. And I look forward catching you on the next episode of Expert Online next Wednesday, February 9th, same times, same place. And I will speak with Dennis Avorin, Internet Vikings key account executive, who knows all the ins and outs of the European iGaming world. And be sure not to miss this another informative webinar, and see you next time.